Welcome to Arsenal Report, your daily source for all things Arsenal FC. From match updates and transfer talk to behind-the-scenes stories, we've got it all. If you're a true gunner, this is your home. Hit subscribe and join the pride. Victory through harmony. Let's get started. Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta has been warned that Thomas Partey will be a huge miss when they take on Paris Saint-Germain in the semi-finals of the Champions League. Partey will be suspended for the first leg at the Emirates later this month. The midfielder picked up his third yellow card in Europe this season as Arsenal knocked holders Real Madrid out of tournament at the Bernabeu on Wednesday, having beaten them 5-1 on aggregate in the quarter-finals. Former Gunners star Theo Walcott has hailed Partey's midfield display during the second leg of that tie and believes Arteta will struggle to find a replacement, as Arsenal do not have many midfield options at their disposal, with Mikel Merino now operating as a makeshift striker. Arsenal and Paris Saint-Germain are definitely the two best teams in this season's Champions League, and the semi-final is going to be a completely different story to when Mikel Arteta's side beat them 2-0 at the Emirates in October, Walcott told BBC Match of the Day. PSG hadn't really clicked then, but they have now. Arsenal will be ready for them, but I think they might miss Thomas Partey, who is suspended after his yellow card tonight. He was so important at the Bernabeu, not just with the way he was getting back into the backline and to help out with the amount of crosses he was dealing with tonight. Partey was also helping Arsenal to slow the ball down and to control the midfield. The PSG game is all going to be about the midfield for me, and Declan Rice is now probably going to play a game with someone who he is less familiar with. Mikel Merino can drop in there, but that might affect the forward line more because of where he has been playing recently. This is what Mikel Arteta will be thinking about now, and he might tinker with a few things against Ipswich and Crystal Palace to try things out before the semi-final. Despite Walcott's concerns, Arteta is feeling confident about his side's chances of success, and he has urged them to carry their momentum into the semi-final clash with PSG. The feeling that we have is our reality, basically, Arteta said at his post-match press conference. And in the feeling that I had before the game, when the players were transmitting and how prepared I could feel the team, that we are ready to compete against anybody. Now we have to continue to do that because I think we have some momentum now. It's certainly another massive step. Where we finished last year and the way we're doing it this year, the teams with their eyes on us and the competition, it's incredible. Big credit to Madrid. It was my first time as a coach in that dugout, and today I realised after 3 minutes in this stadium, anything is possible. They are specialists of creating such chaos and belief, and it's very difficult to understand really what's going on in the game and have certain certainty about how we controlled it. I think they showed a lot of maturity. It's been quite different before because it was impossible to be in any round because the club wasn't in the Champions League for 7 years. So, that shows you the turnaround and a lot of great decisions that the club has made and the contribution a lot of people have made to be where we are. It's a team that you can feel today how hungry, how determined and ambitious that is to go. We're going for more, for sure. When Real Madrid sold Martin Odegaard to Arsenal almost 4 years ago, they never envisioned he would return to haunt them quite so conclusively. Not only did the 26-year-old captain the Gunners to a frankly one-sided win at the Emirates, but he played a pivotal role in turning Carlo Ancelotti's men over in front of their own fans on Wednesday. The Champions League holders exited the competition's quarter-final stage with a whimper, while Odegaard now has a chance to make history at the Emirates. But that dreamlike storyline might have never come to pass were it not for the machinations of Mikel Arteta. Having been impressed with what he saw of the player on loan at one of his old clubs, Real Sociedad, Arteta ensured he was next in line to take the midfielder on a temporary basis. And therein began the sequence of events that would one day lead to Arsenal's chief orchestrator leaving the Bernabeu in awe, just not how the home fans might have liked. It didn't take long for the Norwegian to realise he was onto a good thing in North London. And after years of loans at Heerenveen, Vitesse and Real Sociedad, Odegaard reportedly angered Real when it emerged early on in his Arsenal loan that he was open to joining the Gunners on a permanent basis. It perhaps wasn't the fact their player had hinted at the move, but more so that he had done so soon after leaving, that left his parent club seething. Odegaard eventually completed a permanent switch in the summer of 2021 for a fee worth up to £35 million, which was undoubtedly far less than Real may have once thought they'd get for a player once tipped as the next world beater. Barcelona Academy graduate Arteta was thoroughly impressed by his new signing soon after he first joined. And the Spanish tactician did his utmost to maximise Arsenal's chances of signing the playmaker on permanent terms as he poured praise on the player soon after his arrival. Well, he's got the potential to be one of the best. I followed him very closely when he was at Real Sociedad, and he was really impressive over there for long periods, said Arteta of Odegaard just weeks after he moved to the Emirates. He had a really successful season over there, and that's one of the reasons why I was so convinced that he's a player for us. He's a player that I really like, and, as you say, still has huge potential to become even better. All positive from my first conversations with him. He's a really focused and humble boy that was really keen to join. He's a really nice guy, the players like him, the staff like him. He's easygoing, a really hard worker, and I've been very impressed with his leadership. He looks a little bit calm, but on the pitch, he's got something about him. It's little wonder Odegaard was keen on extending their working relationship when his boss was so forthcoming with the compliments. And as well as consistent first-team football at a top club, that recognition is one of the main things the player will have sought at a time in his career when he was likely on the lookout for a place he could truly call home. In an ideal world, that location probably would have been Madrid, considering former wonderkid Odegaard chose Real above all other world-class suitors who wanted his signature at the age of 16. But he ended up making just 8 senior appearances for Los Blancos and was never quite trusted enough to get his chance in the club's iconic white. Real's loss proved to be the Gunners' gain, as Odegaard has not just impressed, but surpassed all expectations during his stay in North London. It took barely 1 year for the Norway captain to also be given the armband at club level, which preceded back-to-back Player of the Year awards in 2023 and 2024. The jury may still be out on whether Odegaard meets the world-beater criteria. Most Arsenal fans will tell you he does, but beating Real is no small consolation. And not just once, but twice, devastating Ancelotti's reigning champions home and away, with Odegaard both literally and figuratively at the centre of it all. What Los Blancos would give for a player of his specifications today, with Luka Modric ebbing towards retirement and Jude Bellingham showing signs he is human after all. Not that it will matter much to Arteta, who has succeeded in ensuring Odegaard fulfills his potential and landed a personal triumph over old rivals Real in the process. It is now just Paris Saint-Germain who stand between Arsenal and a place in the Champions League final. Arsenal's Bukayo Saka became embroiled in a row with injured Real Madrid star Dani Carvajal as tempers boiled over at half-time of the Champions League quarter-final tie at the Bernabeu. Saka, who missed a penalty in the first half when his Panenka effort was saved by Thibaut Courtois, was making his way down the tunnel when he was grabbed on the neck by Carvajal, who then approached the Gunners winger and raised his hand towards him. The pair then became involved in an angry exchange as they were quickly surrounded by others, with Saka clearly angered by the attention of Carvajal, who remained sidelined with an ACL injury sustained in October. Saka pushed Carvajal away, with Gunners substitute Ben White also quickly on the scene to back up his teammate. It is unclear what Carvajal had said to Saka after approaching him, but the 6-time Champions League winner may well have been referencing the England winger's weak first-half penalty. Saka saw his Panenka effort easily saved by Courtois after referee Francois Letexier had judged that Real Madrid defender Raúl Asensio had pulled down Mikel Merino in the box from a corner. Commentating on BBC Radio 5 Live, the former Arsenal defender Matthew Upson said, "I just can't believe the selection of penalty here from Bukayo Saka. I am so surprised. It's such a bad penalty. He's chipped it to the side Thibaut Courtois dives to." TNT sports pundit Ali McCoist said, "I can't believe it. The goalkeeper does unbelievable. It's not a great pen. He gives the goalkeeper an opportunity to lift a left hand, and the left hand is strong." However, Saka would go on to have the last laugh on Carvajal and Madrid in the second half when he opened the scoring in the 65th minute with a fine finish after being fouled by Merino. Vinicius Jr. quickly pulled one back for Real Madrid when he profited from an error from William Saliba and fired home. but Arsenal's impressive defensive display kept the hosts at bay and ensured that they never really threatened to overturn their 3-0 first-leg deficit, with Gabriel Martinelli's stoppage time strike ensuring the Gunners won 2-1 on the night. UEFA have explained why Real Madrid saw their penalty cancelled in the first half of their Champions League tie with Arsenal. After losing the first leg 3-0 at the Emirates, the Spanish Giants thought they had a chance to pull a goal back at the Bernabeu on Wednesday, as Kylian Mbappe fell under Declan Rice's challenge. Referee Francois Letexier initially gave a spot kick to the anger of the Arsenal midfielder, who was booked in the aftermath. That booking would have seen Rice banned for the semi-finals, but the decision was cancelled after a lengthy VAR check. A check that included both a potential offside and the foul being examined, with Rice's booking eventually rescinded. UEFA quickly released a statement clarifying the decision. It read, "No penalty, no foul. Arsenal's player number 41, Rice did not commit a foul on the opponent." A number of pundits shared their thoughts on the incident, with many agreeing with the decision to chalk the penalty off. Ali McCoy said on TNT Sports, "Does he give Mbappe a yellow card? I'm putting my cards on the table right now. I am delighted to see that decision." Ex-Arsenal defender Matt Upson, commenting on BBC Radio 5 Live, added, "Declan Rice knew. His reaction told us all. He's such an honest player. He couldn't believe it, especially with the yellow card coming out and knowing he's missing the semi-final." Theo Walcott also gave his thoughts. He said the referee has created this situation. Where he gave that penalty to Real, it was the right decision to overturn it. Arsenal shouldn't have had their penalty either, by the way. The cancelled penalty was the second controversial incident during Wednesday's quarter-final. Arsenal were awarded their own penalty after a VAR check. Bukayo Saka was the man to step up, but failed to beat Thibaut Courtois. Despite that, Madrid players still crowded the referee to voice their complaints at the half-time whistle. Arsenal only needed to avoid a defeat by 3 or more goals at the Bernabeu to progress to the semi-finals for the first time in nearly 20 years. They already know their opponents, should they get there, with a clash against French champions Paris Saint-Germain set to come. The League One side progressed by Arsenal's Premier League rivals Aston Villa, following a dramatic decider in Birmingham on Tuesday evening.